Have you seen people on social media doing moves like this? Crossing the ankles, keeping the hands lifted as they come all the way down to the ground in a cross-leg position, and then coming all the way back up without putting their hands down at all. They might have been talking about this as a measure of fitness or as a predictor of longevity. How did it make you feel? This is not an easy move at all. There's lots and lots of things going on. There's balance, there's coordination, there's strength, flexibility. Lots of people will feel like they can't achieve it, but I just wanted to use this video to break it down a little. And like with everything, I think just start wherever your start point is. So, starting with a chair. So if I had a really high chair or a stool, like a perching stool with that slanted seat and some handles on it, I would start there. But this is about the highest and firmest chair that I have. So even coming up from the chair without holding on can really be quite a challenge. It's something that we do a lot in chair class, and the first time I did it, believe me, there were a lot of moans in the room. So pretending, for the sake of this, that I have arms on my chair, where I would probably start with people is making sure that they have their feet a good hip width apart, heels are kind of back towards you, so that your knees are over the top of your toes and your nose comes over your toes as well. Leaning forward, pressing through your hands, and just seeing if you can hover your bottom, hold it there, and then come back down. It's a good amount of exercise. Gaze is forward and down. And it may be that your bottom only hovers off a tiny bit, you're just taking the weight out of it, but you're starting to use those muscles. Eventually, maybe you can come up, bring one hand up, and come back down, swap to the other side, put less weight through your hands. Maybe you can bring your hands forward, but this all takes time. This wouldn't all be done in one session. You start off just practicing these little lifts, bringing the weight out, making your legs really put in some work, shifting that work from your hands to your legs, starting to build those muscles, and then when you're ready, working up to no hands, or using your hands to press through your thighs, coming up to standing. Once you've mastered that, I would say move to a lower chair, keeping it firm. And then maybe really think about coming down to an even lower chair. But there are other things that you can do in between as well. So bringing my trusty chair back. Even starting with this lunge. So back knee, back thigh is kind of down towards the ground. Bending through front leg, bending through back leg. Keeping that lunge. You can always bring one hand to the hip or both hands to the hips if you want to bring in a bit of balance as well. Swap into the other side. So just really thinking about bringing strength in your legs, and then taking a lunge, doing the press up, really pressing into the floor, and then coming back down. Pressing the floor away, coming back down. Practicing that. And then bring it in a trusty bolster or maybe a pile of pillows. Maybe the next level would be taking a little dip down and then pressing back up, taking a dip down, pressing back up. Maybe at some point your knee meets the bolster, so you're down then in this kneeling position and pressing back up, just noticing how much weight you're putting through the hands of the chair, the top of the chair. Maybe eventually, after you've been practicing these for a while, you can move to one hand. Maybe you can move to no hands. And when I say a while, I don't mean a few minutes. I might mean a few days, a few weeks, a few months, however long it takes you. Another useful thing to do is to really think about your hip mobility. So if you think about if you were actually down on the floor and trying to stand up, you would definitely need to be able to get your leg from behind you and up through to be able to come up to standing. So think about, even in the chair, sitting nice and tall, bringing your knee in towards your chest. Again, you might start here just on your tiptoes, holding your leg just under your knee, noticing how much work your hand is putting into holding your knee in towards you. See if you can make your hip do more of the work. Maybe you could bring in some little circles through your hip, starting as big or as small as feels good. Just noticing if your hand is doing all that work, moving your leg around. See if you can make your leg do the work. And then if this gets too easy for you, maybe add in a little bit of resistance, a little press through the top of the thigh, making everything a little bit harder. And obviously you'd always work both legs as well. So another thing that you could do when you're ready for it is, again, having that bolster, thinking about coming down onto both knees and just practicing bringing your leg through, taking it down, bringing it through the other side, working side to side. And then when you're ready, you could bring that leg through, thinking about pressing up. Just a little hover off the knee, off the bolster, and bring it back down. Working both sides. And then eventually you could try the same thing from the floor, coming up onto your knees, having the chair seat just under your hand, bringing one foot forward, tucking the back toe, pressing up. Another thing that I like to do, let me get this chair out of the way, which can be pretty helpful for strength, and also you can do in front of the telly whenever you want, is just thinking about that little lift of your bottom, bringing your bottom to the edge of the sofa and taking some little dips. So you're working through your arm strength as well. and knowing that the seat is always behind you. So there's lots of ways to build up to that ability to get up and down from the floor without using your hands. It's just starting wherever your starting point is. And if that starting point is sitting on a high chair with arms and just hovering your bottom for a few seconds, that's where you begin. And then when you're ready each time, step it up to the next level. Be a bit creative with it and just be your own observer